What I said is, my name is Suzuki Takayoshi. I'm Japanese, but I was born in Canada, and so I can't speak Japanese. Sorry. First, I'd like to acknowledge that we're on Musqueam territory. I want to thank people for taking such good care of it. Living here for thousands of years, we've got a lot to learn about sustainability from the people who held on to this land. I'm simply here to tell Bo what I think you are doing is absolutely vital, and I want to thank you for embarking on this. I want you to know that I, one person, am behind you all the way. And I want to explain why, for someone like me, it's so important. You see, I was galvanized into what we now call the environmental movement by Rachel Carson's book, Silent Spring, in 1962. And it was a very exciting thing to watch a movement grow internationally. And over the decades that followed, we saw, when that book came out, there wasn't a Department of the Environment in any government on the planet. Because of her book, the environment became a word that mattered. And we saw departments being set up at the federal, provincial, and municipal levels. We had laws to protect air, water, endangered species, and millions of hectares of land have been protected in parks and reserves as a result of Rachel Carson's movement. But what I've found now is that many of the issues that we thought we won 30 and 35 years ago, we're having to fight all over again. So we fought, David Anderson led a battle way back when the Americans wanted to bring oil from the North Slope down to Seattle to be refined in Seattle, but they wanted to bring supertankers through BC waters. And Anderson led a fight, and we stopped that. We stopped a proposal to drill for oil in Hecate Strait, to build a dam at Site C on the Peace River. And we fought with the Aboriginal people in the Amazon to stop a dam at Altamira. And we celebrated these as great successes. But 30, 35 years later, we're fighting the same battles over again. And I've been saying that we as environmentalists lost because we didn't shift the way we see our place on the planet. And what I see the problem is reflected in my own family. My grandmother and grandfather, all four of them, came from Japan early in the 1900s, about 1904 to 1910. They left Japan never expecting to go back. It was a one-way trip. They were driven out of Japan by poverty, and they thought they had opportunities here for them and their children. My father was born in Vancouver in 1909. My mother in 1911. And like all of the other Japanese Canadian kids born in Canada around that time, they had no grandparents and they held no elders. They were all back in the old country. So they had no roots in this place. So my parents, like all of the people of colonizers in new countries in Africa, South America, Australia, it was all the same. They came to a new country with no respect for the indigenous people or the flora and fauna. They came for opportunity. So that for my grandparents, the opportunity was you work hard to buy land. And that land, if there were fish on it, you catch them and sell them. If there were trees, you cut them and sell them. If there was topsoil, you grow vegetables and sell them. If there are minerals, you dig them up and sell them. You develop the land and you move away. That's what happens when land is simply opportunity or a resource. And Mother Earth changes from Mother Earth to a mother lode, an opportunity to exploit. And you see that big time now. You see that big time in this province. You see our Premier, Christy Clark, and all of her fracking gas holes that want to exploit this land. And that's happening all across this country. And you think about it. All of the evidence indicates that we as a species were born in Africa 150,000 years ago. I'm a geneticist. I've watched scientists use DNA to trace our movement. I can't wait to speak to the Ku Klux Klan and tell them, what the hell's your problem? We're all Africans, for God's sake. That's where we were born. But gradually over time, they began to move out of Africa. Why? Because their populations were growing, they were overexploiting. Maybe they wanted the Neanderthal chicks across the mountains. I don't know.
Oh, you want to go see Audrey?
And as they moved, they came into new territory. They didn't have any genetic, instinctive understanding about living sustainably. The records indicate as humans moved, even with stone axes and spears and clubs, they eliminated the big, dumb the slow-moving animals. You see a wave of extinction following human movement. And the people that were left in the place must have woken up and gone, oh my God, the birds are gone. Or, oh my God, those mammals are disappearing. And they either moved or they stayed in place. And when they stayed in place, they learned through the mistakes of their ancestors what worked and didn't work. And over thousands of years, that acquired knowledge, hard-won knowledge, became a part of the indigenous culture. They built roots in the land that were thousands of years old. And this is what I see as the crisis now. We have a monoculture around the world of a single idea of progress and development, and it's based on economics. Our Prime Minister recently said, no government would ever do anything to deal with climate change when it destroys the economy or interferes with economic opportunities. No First Nations would put the economy above the air that we breathe. That's the lesson that I believe we have to learn, and that Mo is going to spread. And in the rituals that you are carrying out, you are telling us there are other things that we have to listen to. When I look at the opposition to the Northern Gateway, these are communities, like the communities Miles and Gujau represent, that need economic development. They want jobs. And they've been offered millions of dollars by Enbridge and the government if they'll just let the pipelines through, and they are 100% opposed. Why? They're telling us there are things more important than money. And that's the message that you're going to take across the country. So I thank you. I thank you for hanging on to these traditions. I thank you for persisting and trying to get others to see the world as you see it. And I just wish you all speed. I'm with you all the way.